That's right after the Mishnah on 22b. All right. However, I'm going to read the first three cases of the Mishnah, just because that's what we're discussing. Case number one of the Mishnah is Hamafish Chatas V'Avda, someone that separated a Chatas, but then he lost it. Now, the wording is supposed to say V'Hikriv, and then he brought another Chat, Acheres Tachtea, V'Achach Nimtzas Rishon Tamas. So if you bring one Chatas, and then you find the original one that you lost, so the original one was put to death, you sort of like push that one away. By bringing the second one, you said the first one is going to waste, because you've already brought the second one. Let's say you did this with money. Mafish mois l'chatasi. And you lost the money, v'avdu. Now again, v'hikriv chatas tachtem, and you bring another chatas in place of that money, and then the money comes, v'achach nimtza mois, you find the money. So yilichem liyad melech. Again, you push that money away. Yeah, you v'hikriv, both times v'hikriv. You push that money away. You have to, just like by the animal, you would kill it, or you would let it die. The money you throw to the sea, it basically goes to waste. The third case is hamafresh mais lachatas va'avdu v'hifresh mais acheres tachteyem. And then you separate other money. You lost the first money, so you separate other money. Now, but the new money, you didn't get a chance to buy a new chatas until you find the first money. Now you have two. So yavi melu melu. What you do is you bring from both of those monies. This is the first case that we see that the remaining money does not get thrown into the sea. This is the first case that we're noticing that the remaining money has some use. It gets used for a nadava. Okay, now the end of the Mishnah discusses a machlekes, the Chachamim and Rabbi and the Chachamim, regarding if you separated a chatas and then you lose it, you separate a new one, and before you do anything, the old chatas resurfaces. So over there, Rabbi says that it's too late. The fact that you separated a new one, you put the old one to death, and the Chachamim say no. You didn't bring that chatas yet. You didn't bring a new chatas. You just separated it. So the new one is still able to, or the old one is still able to be used as a nedava, as a donation. So the machlekes Rabbi and the Rabbanan is, what do we hold if the owner was not never brought his atonement, and now he has two chatos? According to the Rabbanan, one of them is brought and one of them is a nedava. According to Rabbi, one is brought and the other one put to death.
So Rabbi holds the fourth case is like the second case, but the Chachamim hold the fourth case like the third case?
Even that I couldn't follow.
I'm really impressed.
The fourth case is like the second case. Rabbi holds the exactly. And the Rabban hold the fourth case like the third case. Okay. I skipped a few cases in the middle, but in our... Okay.
So the question here is whether his intent was effective under the circumstance. His intent to designate the second
one
was effective under the circumstance where the first reappeared.
Right.
It was never really gone.
Right.
He just didn't know where it was.
Yeah, that's interesting. So you hear what the explanation? When a person separates the second one, what is he doing to the first one? What does that mean for the first one? According to Rabbi, he's destroyed the first one by separating the second one. And according to the Rabbanan, no, he didn't do that. He didn't destroy the first one. He separated the second one. And then let's see what happens. The first one may resurface and then it will be a nadava. It's not over yet. Okay. The Gemara goes back to discuss the first case. Taima dehikriv acheres tachtea. What's the reason why we said in the first case of the Mishnah that you put the other animal to death? That's because you hikriv acheres tachtea. If you don't edit the Mishnah, you can't read it. You can't read this Gemara. You see, the Mishnah said v'hifresh acheres tachtea in parentheses, and on the side you had to edit it to v'hikriv. So, but if he didn't offer it, then it's raya. Then you let it graze. You don't put it there. Oh, very interesting. If you would have just separated the animal, and then it would resurface, the first one. So you would allow one of those animals to graze. Mani, who's the author of that? Who holds that? That's Rabbanan. That's Rabbanan. Graze means
wait to get a mum.
Graze gets a mum,
And then you sell it.
and you sell it, and then the money goes to Nadava.
Right.
Mani, who's the author? Rabbanan hidamri avuda b'shas hafrasha raya. That says that if the animal is lost, the first animal is lost, at the time that you separate a new animal, raya, you let the first animal that was lost graze. It doesn't get put to death just because you separated a new one. Let's look at the last case of the Mishnah. Now, the last case of the Mishnah is case number 3 for us. All right? Someone separates money for a chata, va'avdu, and he loses the money. The hifresh, supposed to be ma'is acheres, probably. Other money, tachteim, in place of the first money that he lost. Yavi me'elu u'me'elu. He brings from both monies together. V'hashar yiplu l'nadava. Money. And the remaining money, what he did here was he brings both monies together. He takes from both monies. He mixes the money, takes from both of them to buy a chatas, and what's left over goes to Nadava. Now the Gemara is medayek, not from the case of his losing it and finding it. The Gemara is ignoring that right here. The Gemara is medayek from what he did. What did he do at the end? He took both monies. Taima me'elu me'elu. What's the reason why the remaining money is Nadava? It's because he took from both of the monies. But let's say he just would have taken from one of the monies. He lost the first money. He separated new money. So his solution is he mixes the money together. Let's say he didn't mix it together, and he would have just taken one of them. That would have been a sign that he's pushing away the one of those monies. So if he would have done that, Hasheni Yalich Aliyam Melach, then the halacha would have been different. Then the halacha would have been that the other money you would have to throw into the sea. Now, who holds that before you bring a chatas and you find the first one, that the money goes into the sea, or if it would be an animal, it would be put to death, asan l'Rebbe. That's Rebbe's opinion. The Amar Avuda b'shas hafrasha mesa. He says that if I lose an animal and I separate another one, the first one is put to death when I find it. When I find it, even if I find it before the atonement. So here, it's before the atonement, and what am I doing? I'm taking one money. It's obviously before the atonement. It's before I even bought the animal. I only have two monies. I take one money, and the other money I leave. I'm going to have to throw the other money to the sea. It must be Rebbe's opinion. Now the Gemara has a conflict here because the Gemara doesn't want the beginning of the Mishnah to be the Rabbanan, and well, it's a little bit of an issue because the end of the Mishnah actually tells me that there's a machlekes between Rabbi and the Rabbanan. Now, what's the first part of the Mishnah doing? Giving me an opinion here, an opinion there. It's confusing to do this. So the Gemara says, Reish Rabbanan v'Sefer Rabbi. The beginning is the Rabbanan's opinion, and the end of the Mishnah is Rabbi's opinion. Okay, so now we get into a little bit of a complexity here because there's a machlekes between Rav Huna and Rav Abba, both of them in the name of Rav. So we have Rav, we have this main student right directly under this Rav Huna on this chart here. And then we have a Rav Abba, but on the chart he's not here, unless we go to Israel. Maybe it's him from Israel, I'm not sure. Maybe it's a Rav Abba that moved to Israel. So, but we have a machlekes here. Is there a difference between which animal the person uses when he finds, now he has both animals in front of him? The Rabbanan say, normally what we learned is the Rabbanan say you take one animal You lost one, so you separate another, now you have two. So you use one of them, and the other one is grazes, because you found it before the atonement. Now, there's a machlekes over here. Let's say he takes the new one as a sacrifice. The one that was lost doesn't matter. Doesn't matter which one he takes. And doesn't matter if he goes to ask the Bezdin which one he should do, or if he does it on his own without asking. So here, because we're dealing with animals here, so you're not mixing the money together. You either take one or the other, and does that make a difference? In other words, Rav Huna and Rav Abba are both taking the Rabbanan and moving it one step closer to Rabbi, by saying that there's other possibilities that the animal is going to be put to death, even if it was found before the atonement. So it goes like this. Hanichal Rav Huna. If we're going to follow Rav Huna's opinion, it's good. Damar Rav Huna Marav, that Rav Huna says in the name of Rav. We're on top of page 23. Hakol Maidim. Everyone agrees that Hakol means the Rabbanan and Rabbi. But the main thing here is the Rabbanan. Hakol Maidim, everyone agrees. Shemoshech Achas. If him on his own, he pulls one of the animals, v'hekriva, and he offers it, shashniya mesa, that the second one is put to death. Now, even the Rabbanan would agree that it doesn't matter which one you take. Just the fact that you didn't come to Bezdin to ask, that means that you're being decisive here, and you're determining that one of these animals is pushed away. So mishkachas, so it's possible that the third case that we're discussing with the money, that we said, when are you going to be able to use the other money for Nidava? That's only if you mix both monies together. But if you would have taken one and not the other, so mishkachas shemashkachas me'am v'hikriv v'divri hakol. The case would be where you took one of the monies, and then the other money has to be thrown into the sea. Why? Because you didn't come to Bezdin to ask. You pushed it away.
But in this case, where it was Mesa, he had no benefit from it. What does he have to do with the mace?
Yeah, no benefit.
No benefit. Just let it rot.
Right.
So this is why it doesn't make a difference technically if at the beginning it said hifrish or hikriv, because once it was designated by pulling, which could be hifrish as opposed to hikriv,
Very interesting.
then which really
No,
follows
but isn't
what you
hikriv a
said.
reference to the kapara?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now he's saying that according to Rav Huna, even if you're mafresh acheres tachteha, no. Because we're talking about over here, we're talking about if it's hifresh acheres. The difference between hifresh and hikriv is right after it says either hifresh or hikriv. It then says, and then you found the first one. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to say that if you found the first one after the atonement, so then it's too late. The atonement was already, and the first one is put to death. But if you found it before the atonement, then it didn't knock off that first one, and there's options. It could be that it's that you can use it as a donation. Now, according to Rav Huna, even if you found it before the atonement, but then it still depends on what you go ahead and do to do the atonement. Did you go ask in Bezdin? Then you have a solution here where Bezdin's going to say, oh, take the old one to use. Take the one that you lost and use that as the carbon. And then the new one that was just separated, that's not a problem. That was separated, that will go to Nadafa. But if they would tell you to use the new one, then there would be an issue because the old one was lost and you separated a new one already. So the lost could push it away. The lost part could invalidate it. So, no, but you still have to go to the Bezdin to ask that. What are we gaining over here? It's possible that all three cases in the beginning of the Mishnah are the rabbis, because the rabbis also have a case where if you use one of the monies, the other money would be thrown to the Yam HaMelech. Why? Because you used it without asking the Bezdin, which money should I use? Elul Rababa Marav, but according to Rababa, in the name of Rav, Damar Kol Maidim Meskaper Sheina Avuda. Baba says you don't have to ask in Bezdin what to do. If you take the Eina Avuda, in other words, the new animal, Avuda Mesa, then the old one is put to death. Al Manechliku, but what is the machlekes between Rabbi and the Rabbanan? B'meskaper ba'avuda. If you take the old one that got lost and that was resurfaced, and you've already separated a new one, now which one do you use as the carbon? So if you take the old one that was lost and the new one is left over, so the Rabbi savar mafresh le'ibad ki'ibadami. Rabbi holds that if you separate an animal for a lost animal, that's the lost animal. They're both the same in the same status. So it has like it strikes against it, right? However, the Rabbanan savri lavki v'dami, they held no. The one that was lost was lost. The new one still has some validity to it. So if you bring the old one as the karban, even though it was lost, but now you found it, so then it's a good chatas. But the new one could go to Nadava. That's what the Rabbanan would say. Now, according to his opinion, according to Rabbi, if you take one of them, one of the monies, the other money should go to Nadava. Depending on which one you took. If you took the old one, then the new money should go to Nadava. So why did we say that only if you take from both of them does the new one go to Nadava? Even if you took from one of them, it should go to Nadava. It must be, it's not the Rabbanan's opinion, it must be Rabbi's opinion. Okay, we're going to see on the next page, the Gemara has a simple answer for this. But meanwhile, we're going to say, Reisha sasam lanka Rabbanan, Seifa sasam lanka Rabbi. The Reisha was clearly the Rabbanan, and the Seifa is clearly is Rabbi. Okay. Now the Gemara says, "My kamashmalan." What are you trying to say with this? When you have these cases, the pligi Rabbi v'Rabbanan, you're trying to say that there's a machlekes here, Rabbi and the Rabbanan, and we're just bringing these different cases. Behedya k'tanila. Read further in the Mishnah. We have the machlekes Rabbi and the Rabbanan. Machlekes Rabbi v'Rabbanan b'Seifa. What does it say over there? Hamafresh chatas v'avda. Someone separates a chatas because he did a sin and he needs to bring a korban chatas, but then he loses the animal. Vifresh acheres tachta, and then he separates another animal because he lost his the sin offering. And then the first one comes back. Now he has two. He has the new one and he has the old one. And both of them are there ready to be brought. Achas mem tikrav. You bring one of them. Another one is put to death. Tivri Rabbi. That's Rabbi's opinion. The only way that a chatas is put to death is if it's found after there's an atonement for the owners. Oh boy. It's to make up for the...
Ooh, look at the size of that apple.
Establishing hierarchies here. Thank you, Yitzi.
So the Chachamim hold that the only time a chatas is put to death is if someone separated a chatas. So far, no problem. But then he loses it. Now, if he separates another chatas. Now, depending on when the first chatas is found, that's going to be determined if it's put to death. If he finds the new chatas before the new one, if he finds his old chatas before the new one is brought, then it's not put to death, because at the time of bringing it, it wasn't pushed away. You could have brought either one. It wasn't pushed away. At the time of bringing it, they were both eligible, and so therefore, one of them goes to a donation. However, if he finds his old chatas after he already offered his new one, and his atonement was already brought, so that means that the old chatas is already given up on, and it's totally pushed off, and when you find it, it's a chatas that the kapara was brought already, and it's put to death. Okay.
When it's put to death, what do they do with it?
They
like shafted, where they use it, or just...
No, they just leave it and without food. It just dies.
We don't talk about that.
Yeah. And the money doesn't go to the sea. When do we throw money into the sea? Money that was separated to buy a chatas. When do we do that? That's only if the money was found, because he separated money and then he lost it. So he separated new money. That's only if he finds his old money after the atonement was brought already. But if he finds it before he used his new money to buy a chatas and bring the atonement, then the old money is it could be used for donation.
I have a question. We asked this before, but I don't remember the answer. This just sounds so much like Baal Tashchis, letting a good animal just die or throwing good money into the sea. I mean, it seems like poor people could do a lot more with it, or the Bais Hamikdash could use it. I don't. Is there? Do we just not ask because it's one thing we don't understand, or it just seems like a waste?
I have exactly the same issue. There's so many places in halacha that's so careful about Jewish money. Here it's just wasted, and moreover, it's like saying this creation had no purpose in the world. Hashem created this for no purpose whatsoever because it's just dying and no use from it. It's just, I keep getting stuck on exactly this issue.
Mostly,
It's sort of an aside, but
I wasn't allowed to throw away a piece of aluminum foil as a kid, you know. No, I was saying, oh my God, the ball is this big.
They said, someone said, I don't get what's so good about these plastic cups. They're so hard to wash.
Well, in Nicaragua, it's a way of doing it.
I don't have an answer. I have to think about it.
That's a good answer. Just,
okay.
let's realize we're not
The only thing I could say that, sometimes you just, like they have this question, the boys are supposed to do miftzayim on the boys and the girls are supposed to do miftzayim on the girls. So when it mixes, when it's, it could create problems. It's not supposed to, the boys are not supposed to be going to the girls' events to do that. So sometimes they say, but she wants to become frum. It would be a way. But he even asked me about the Torah. So yeah, very nice. Send them to the yeshiva. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes you do have to make those decisions, even though it's like, oh, but it's a good opportunity. So, okay. Anyway, I don't know.
She wants to put on show.
You're going to say she wants to come to the daf. Okay. Hakamash Malan. So our question is here, what are you trying to tell me? That there's a machlekes Rabbi and the Rabbanon, and you have these different cases. The Mishnah says there's a machlekes Rabbi and the Rabbanon. Gemara says no. Hakamash Malan is coming to tell us that davar zeh machlekes Rabbi v'Rabbanon. So in other words, the way the Mishnah is put is it has one case, it has another case, and the cases are not the same opinion. And then the Gemara says, oh, that what we said, that's a machlekes Rabbi and the Rabbanon. So we're like explaining the Mishnah of what it's trying to do here. Gufa. Gufa is a term that's used to re-examine Amirayim. When we started doing the daf about a year ago, I said, I don't know when Gufa is used and I don't know when Amar Mar is used because they seem interchangeable. So we came up with a theory that Gufa is used for Amirayim and Amar Mar is used for Tanaim, a Bais Mishnah. So far we've been 99.9% accurate. This is how it is. So, Gufa, Amar Rav Huna Amar Rav. It was taught, Rav Huna says the name of Rav, Akol Moedim. Everyone agrees, Shemashachachas v'kriva. That if the fellow that separated his chatas and lost it, and then he separates another chatas, and then he finds his old chatas, this was the case of the Rabbanan. He didn't bring either of them yet. But if he goes ahead and makes his own decisions, and he takes one of them, and he offers it doesn't matter which one, but the fact that he does it on his own, shashniya mesa, the fact that he made that decision, that means that he's pushing away the other one. And so where's the machlekes, where the Rabbanan say, oh, it's not a problem, it goes to Nedava. The whole machlekes is only when he comes to ask, malach means to ask for advice. B'mi nimlach. Who take counsel? He comes to take counsel, right? By Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. they offered him the job as the Rosh Hashiva because they just got rid of Rabbi Gamliel. So he says, Ezel ve'imlach bebeisei. Let me go ask my wife. Right? Imlach means to take advice. So if he goes and he asks, the Rebbe Savar, Rebbe holds, La yasu takana bekadshim. Rebbe holds that they don't have any kind of like solutions. They don't try to fix up kachim to keep it in existence. What's the word that they use for takana? A remedy. They didn't institute a remedy, and therefore, what the Bezdin tells them, Ramninan, leichaskaper b'sheina avuda, go use the new sacrifice, v'avuda mesa, and the old one, the one that got lost and then found, which has problems with it because it was lost once, it's rejected already. So the rabbis just tell them, don't worry, that's going to waste anyway, so just use the new one. Rabbanan Sabri, the Rabbanan say, also takana b'kachim. No, we do have remedies for kachim. We don't want it to go to waste. But Amrina, we say, leichas kaper ba'avuda. Go use yesterday's bread. Don't use today's. Go use the old one now. So that way, the new one will be able to use the new one for a donation because the new one was never lost. If you bring the old one for the chatas, so then that will be acceptable.
So Rabbanan hold like Dr. Stein a little bit.
Yeah. The sheina avudatera, and the one that wasn't lost, that you let it graze. We'll get a mum, and you'll bring it. You go to a donation. Masav Rav Misharsh, or Maisav Rav Misharsh, or Misharsh asks the question. I'm not sure. Is that on the chart? He asks the question. Maisav, we learned the word Maisav means a retort, right? Shuv. Layasu takana bekadshim. Rabbi holds that there's no takana, that they don't look for a remedy to salvage things by kachim, that we just don't care about it. V'hatanya was starting in a brisa. Yoichlu. Actually, I think the pasuk says yechluha or something. Where's this? This is talking about what's left over from a mincha is eaten by Aaron and his children in the courtyard of the Oil Mayad. Yechlu.
Oh, at the end, the last word is yechluha. So it's 2 words.
So ma Talmud Laimar, what is this coming to tell me? That if there was just very little bit of food there. So you eat chulin beforehand and truma, because they're kain, they can eat truma. And so that when they do eat the mincha, they could eat it together. They eat it in a satisfied way, in a way that makes them full. Yoichluha, what does it mean, Yoichluha? Matamalim, what does that tell me? Shemhaisa achilam meruba, that if there was a lot of leftovers there, so you don't go ahead and fill up on the bread or whatever that is, the chulin and the truma, so that you'll end up being stuffed at the time when you eat the mincha, and it will go to waste, because just to stuff yourself after you're full already is pointless. So it's not even considered eating; it's considered wasting. That's why when they would tell you as a kid, don't let the food go to waste, keep eating. But if you're full, it's going to waste anyway, so that's pointless, right? Either way, it's a waste. So it's achila gasa. So my love, here we're seeing that you need to make sure that you don't have the kachim go to waste. Afilu Rebbe. Maybe this is according to Rebbe as well. That holds that we need remedies for kachim to make sure it doesn't go to waste. This is Lai Rabbanon. You don't know that it's Rebbe's opinion that Rebbe holds it. Maybe Rebbe holds that you don't do remedies for kachim, and it's you live like with wealth, and you don't have to think about things like that. So it could be the Rabbanon. Rabba says, name of Rabba, everyone agrees. We're going back to explain. Everyone agrees, and means the rabbis would agree. Usually they hold that the other animal could be used as a donation. But they agree, that if he makes his atonement sacrifice the one that wasn't lost, that means the new one. Which one is remaining? The one that's lost. Shavuda Mesa, the lost one is put to death. Al Manechliku, what is the machlokes? Miskaper Ba'avuda. When he goes ahead and he brings a sacrifice from the one that was lost and then that was found. The Rabbi Savar Mafresh Li'ibad Kibadami. Rabbi holds that the new one that you designated, that's now here, that's as if that's the one that's lost as well. Why? Because it's replacing the one that's lost. But Rabbanan say, Rabbanan say, no, it's not like it was never lost, the new one. The new one was never lost, which is clear, it wasn't lost. And it's not replacing the one that's lost. The one that was lost, you're bringing. So this one is still has good usage. Okay, Tanan. This Gemara was quoted yesterday. Yesterday we learned that on Yom Kippur, the Kohen Gadol brings two goats. One is brought as a sacrifice, and one is brought to Azazel, sent to Azazel. It's pushed off the cliff. So they needed to be a pair. If the one for Azazel dies, and the one for the sacrifice was brought already.
He dies before it's pushed.
Oh, I don't know. It dies before it's pushed. And maybe the one for the sacrifice wasn't brought. They're both there. But the one for Azazel dies. So now I'm missing the pair. So it says that you designate a brand new pair. I use one of them. I do the lottery. I use one of them for Azazel, that to replace the dead one. What about the other two? I have an old one and I have a new one. So it's like this. Hasheni, the second one, Yirad Yistarv, you let it get a mum, the Yamacha you sell it,